Yeah. So, I say it's dangerous. I would say it's this is actually an excellent question because I think it's dangerous. I mean, that is what healthcare, I'm not sure what your specialty is in, but healthcare says that we should. That should be an item that we should be doing. Because the issue in healthcare is data privacy and who has the rights to the data. Just because HIPAA prevents, you need, in order to use data in healthcare, you need to get past HIPAA, which means you have to get permission. You have to get permission through the practitioner who collected the data. And they're going to be very protective of their data, given that A, it's HIPAA compliant, and B, unless they're actively involved in the project, it will be used to replace their job. So they'll be very hesitant to give up this data. So that's why healthcare is specifically using that to as one of their big sells. They also suggest LLMs too. I'm not sure how effective that'll be, just because it'll give you like kind of the stereotypical. It's like, I mean, I'm gonna ask this with another question that I've been pondering over, because like at the end of the day, if you're using GANs to generate, to assess, to effectively create a new discriminator, doesn't it anchor upon? I mean, there's a little element of randomness, right? So it'll be trained based off the GAN rather than what it is in real life. And hopefully you can kind of anchor upon that randomness that the generator introduces, that'll reflect real life. So I don't know how to get the generator to ultimately create enough randomness to reflect the randomness of real life. But it's better than nothing. But at the end of the day, you're training it for a discriminator, and you're using a discriminator to train another discriminator. So that's kind of random, but it should be better in that it should be effective in that I guess it addresses that little bit of random. I think that should be the case. That'll blur the definition a little bit more. That the randomness should do it, but at the end of the day, wouldn't the discriminator isn't only as good as your discriminator is? So I don't know. That is a great question, because I think it's just dangerous in healthcare because they're going to rely upon that to get around it, and that you'll get it based off of how good your GAN is, pretty much how good your generator is and your discriminator is. So yeah, I think it's just dangerous, and healthcare is easy to jump on it because there's a direct paucity for it, but it's extremely dangerous and anchors upon how good your discriminator is and how effective the little element of random. So effectively, it's dangerous in that you're training it on the random of the generator, the blur that the discriminator leaves behind. So in a perfect world, we would be able to collect our own data, and people would be confident about losing their jobs, confident in maintaining their jobs through collecting all this data. But you know, I think the better question is, given how much we need, I don't want to reveal how much data I use in my 2 most recent projects, considering that's like golden information. But I will tell you what ChatGPT says. And ChatGPT says for a neural network, you need minimum 500 to get any semblance of reason to your projects. That's for a neural network. You can use random forest for anything other than that too. So hopefully that helps. I would say it's dangerous. I think it's like a, you know, it's like the Midas touch. And they always say mode collapse is another issue. Mode collapse is something to watch out for GANs, in that they end up coming up with the same thing over and over again. They lose their diversity. So that is another issue. So I don't know. I'll be able to tell you more when I pursue my PhD in AI and healthcare. That's what I'm hoping to do. So far, I've just done the certification courses, which are pretty similar. I don't list, but I'm also board certified in it as well, which is much shorter. But I should know more for my PhD in AI healthcare. So I think it's only as good as your discriminator. And it's just a funny question because you're using a discriminator to create another discriminator in effect. So I think you train it to create randomness based on the generator. The generated randomness to accompany that. So whether that reflects real life, probably not. And that's one thing that you'll get from me versus a ChatGPT bot is that ChatGPTs are only as good. Their logic is only as good as items that have taken place before that someone has written about. They're bad at putting two and two together. Someone had to have drawn the conclusion beforehand. So one thing I'm really good at is logic. I was tempted. I'm kind of hesitant to do it just because in my Harvard course, it was 2/3 doctors, like 3/4, 2 to 3. Currently, I'm doing a BS in data science and AI, and I have a project where I have to use GANS and turbulence. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, you're more based on coding than I am, because I'm more in the conceptually talking about it phase, just because for the program that I hope to get into, it's more to become an administrator in AI and healthcare. So it is great to have these conversations because you're the guys that put it in together. The only hesitancy that I have to say is, I mean, you guys get the credentialing, but then again, what do you do when now that the coding has then got second place in the international coding competition? So, I mean, you guys are on the ground making it happen, and I'm trying to sit high and mighty using AI and healthcare knowledge to be able to talk about it and have conversations. But you guys make it happen. So, you guys have the credentialing. At the end of the day, whatever job that you're doing won't be replaced. Like the credentialing won't be replaced because you got credentialed. And there's a need for credentialing because healthcare practitioners want to use. Want someone to do the legwork for the AI portion, and then healthcare practitioners want to take care of the patient interaction. So someone's got to talk to the patients and collect the data. Anyway, good talk. That is one question for you. You got one more. I originally was at 3, and then I lowered this to 2 just because I think that was a good 10 minutes. I average 10 minutes for each of my questions, so it's kind of a long time for me to talk about these things. So I mean, your project is a project where I have to use GANS and turbulence. Okay.